Rolling Stone said that Taylor Swift new album is a 10 out of 10. Ah, man, I tell you. This is exactly why the music, that most of the music, in my opinion, has fallen. For you to say that the album is a 10 out of 10 is ridiculous. Like, I know a lot of y'all are Taylor's fans. Don't get me wrong. I know a lot of y'all are Taylor fans. But the album is not good. It's not a good album. I listened to it. Sorry. I listened to Taylor Swift's album. Sorry. It's not a good album. She's saying some things on there, and there might be some hidden Easter eggs on there, but it's just not a good album. You know what I'm saying? Like, just, I don't know. But today's episode, we're going to talk about hip hop is in a bad space. And earlier I did an episode on, I think that hip hop is in a good space and it's where it's going to go. But this kind of like, this is the other side of it and why I think that it kind of explains my first episode. So the episode you seen this morning, now you see this episode. This episode right here is basically saying why and how we got to that point. You know what I'm saying? The episode this morning was saying how I believe the quality of music, the quantity is going to go down, but the quality will go up. So before we get into that, Legendary Spill, this is Torture Talk. If you like the content, please consider subscribing if you're new here. Let me work for your subscription today. All the beautiful single sexy ladies, put one in the chat. All the fellas, y'all know to find the ones that just don't harass them. I don't sell no merch, but I do have content absolutely free. But if you want to leave a donation, link is in the description. Cash App, no more PayPal. They call me the Hidden Gem. 1,300 subscribers to over 19,000. And yes, I am the king of the North. Let me know what kingdom you are from. Also, go subscribe to Torture Talk After Hours. It's real lit over there. I'm over 4,000, 5,000 subscribers. I'll be giving away a cash prize. 25,000 subscribers. I'll be giving away a cash prize over here, right on live. All you have to do to be the 25,000 subscriber. Once I see it, because I'm going to be waiting on it. Once I see it, you 25,000 subscriber. Bam! I'm going to tag you. Say, yo, you are the 25,000 subscriber. If you don't see it, I'm going to tell you. Bam! And then you're going to get paid some money right on live. I'm going to bring you on. Email you. Here's my email. Email me. Bam. I'm going to give you the stuff and you're going to come right on. 26th of October, there will be a live on this page. Battle rap event, free. All you have to do is pull up and watch. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to donate no money. You ain't got to do none of that. You can just pull up and watch. If you want a Cash App or donate, super chat, you could do that too. But you don't have to. You could just pull up and watch. You know what I'm saying? So let's get to it, man. Oh, and a big announcement that day, too. I know it's a long intro. I'm sorry. All right, this comes courtesy of the NFR podcast. Shout out to these brothers. They be doing some good work over there. So shout out to them. Let's get it.
It seems like every single year that passes, the hip-hop genre continues to decline, especially for the mainstream. There was a lot of alarming stats that were released in the past couple of months, and there's one of them that is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to be talking about it at the end of this video. But to start off this episode, listen to this, guys. So, on the global Spotify chart, only 6 songs of the 200 spots are occupied by rap songs. Compare this to exactly this day 5 years ago. There were 56 songs out of the 200 in 2020. This is the worst performance the genre has seen since the chart was introduced 9 years ago. And a lot of the charting songs that are on this list are not even from 2025. You see songs like Without Me from Eminem, or even A Timeless from Playboi Carti and The Weeknd.
Or All the Stars from like 2018, which is like only half a rap song.
And it's just alarming, bro, because you go through this mix, right? And you start to see different mainstream rap acts, for example. Let's take Lil Baby, Young Thug, Travis this year. And the music they're releasing is not only, let's say, poor in quality, but it's not even sticking in the mainstream anymore. And I feel like we've gotten to a point.
So here's what I'm going to say about this, right? And I guess I'm going to say Watch the Party Die was a genius song. It was genius. Kendrick knew that this was happening. He knew that this was going to happen with that song. When he said, I think it's time for us to watch the party die. We all know what that means. I think a lot of people don't want to face it, especially hip hop media. They don't want to face it. But it's over. It's over. You see it right now. My question to a lot of y'all are y'all okay with it being over like this? Because I'm not saying that he's what he's saying is wrong, but what I'm saying is, shouldn't we be proud that these songs are not charting anymore? Or do y'all actually say, well, all hip hop should chart because that makes it better for the culture? When do we say, hey, we don't care if these songs chart anymore because those songs are not the proper representation of what hip hop is anyway. So those songs shouldn't chart. We don't care if they chart. Or do y'all say these charts don't mean anything? These charts are for a certain demographic of people. Is that what we're saying? So that's the question I have. I know I'll be saying a lot of stuff, and sometimes I'll be saying I'm going to put a poll up, and I'll be forgetting. I'll be doing too much. Maybe I need to write some of this shit down. I need to write a reminder down, do a poll. You know what I'm saying? But let's keep it going.
To where, yes, you could have a super hot name. Yes, you could have a global brand. Yes, you could have a dedicated fan base. But if the music is not good, it's just not going to stick. And yes, I understand there has been amazing hip hop albums from other sides of the genre, right? We've gotten great underground albums this year. Shout out to McKinley Dixon. Shout out to J-Mac. Shout out to Marco Plus. D2X released great music this year. You had Jid with a great album that dropped this year. Clips did a great run this year too. You could consider that mainstream hip hop.
Yeah, and you could argue.
So some of them dudes he named, I don't even know who these dudes is. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I think that there is a subsection of hip hop that even I don't even know about or don't follow, and I need to start learning about. Just like he didn't name Davies, he didn't name Griselda, he didn't name West Side Gun, Ransom, he didn't name any of those guys on that side. So sometimes where we have these artists that I think that they feel like it's a potential for them to go to the mainstream versus artists that are not targeted towards the mainstream. So and it's crazy how there's two different type of hip hops that people would say is good versus the mainstream. So I understand what he's saying, but outside of Jid, I don't know who those dudes was that he named. I really don't.
Like at the furthest extent of mainstream, maybe the underground of the mainstream would have, let's say, Jid and Freddie Gibbs. And then with Clips, I mean, that album sold over 100,000 copies first week. You have to kind of consider that mainstream hip hop. So there are artists thriving. When you look at the majority of the bunch, these albums are not only flopping commercially for the most part, besides maybe a Music by Playboi Carti, but no one's really enjoying the music anymore.
No, of course not. Like looking at Wham or Jack Boys 2 or even this UY Scooty
or
situation.
Lil Wayne's The Carter 6.
Yeah, like these are supposed to be monumental blockbuster albums, right? Like think about the film industry, right?
Well, I understand what he's saying, but you should have known that these albums wasn't going to be monumental blockbuster albums because the guy who on top. If Drake was still on top, these albums would have probably been monumental blockbuster albums. But since he's not on top anymore, and this is what people are not paying attention to, you have to pay attention to who's at the forefront of it. The guy at the forefront doesn't make music like that. You notice he said outside of Playboi Carti, because Playboi Carti, Kendrick is on his album 2 times, right? Or at least 3, I believe, or something like that. But this guy, Lil Wayne, album was just not good. Even if you said it was supposed to be a blockbuster album, the album is just bad. The Wham album, terrible. Album just bad. You know what I'm saying? The album, the other album, the last Drake with Some Sexy Songs for You. It's just a bad. I think that a lot of these artists gotten away with making bad music for so long that they think that this is what it is until GNX came. GNX rewrote everything. It did. It literally rewrote everything. And once it rewrote everything, what happened? Now all of these artists don't even know what to do. If you got artists like The Weeknd, you got artists like Doja, they know what to do because they've been artists. They've been doing good music for a long time. Artists like Young Thug and all, they've been getting away with passing. You never went to school and you just passed. You got a D all the time, and then the teacher said, he just get D's, but he's enthusiastic. He wants to do it. You just getting by or just coming into class late and learning a little bit. That was them. They have not surpassed that. They don't make good music. They never really made good music. It's just the fact that they were all like a team pushing each other up. Drake was the quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Now that the quarterback is injured, probably out permanently, or he's getting traded to another team, they really can't do nothing no more. They can't. They don't know what to do. They can't follow behind the new quarterback. The new quarterback, he got different plays. He's advanced. They can't follow behind him.
Like, as much as people love their indie films and going into, like, let's say smaller niches and pockets of cinematography, you want your blockbusters, bro. You want your massive movies because they create these cultural moments that build up the genre, right? It intrigues new people to come in. It intrigues new artists to attack different sounds, right? Like, think about the way Kanye was innovating the sound back then, or the way that Jay-Z did it, or the way that Drake was doing it. Kendrick, Cole, Eminem, like.
But see, these people that you comparing them to, even Wayne, Wayne is one of my favorite artists of all time. But I can go on record and say Wayne, overall, me personally, he doesn't have a really good catalog. He don't. He got about 2 classics in my opinion, and that's it. All the rest of his albums is okay to trash. You know what I'm saying? But if you even look at his classics, they're basically going off the energy of what was around him. To me, Wayne doesn't have any music that actually changes people's lives. He don't. And if you go over the same thing with Drake, the same thing with Young Thug, all of these artists, they were going off the melody at the time, that melody, that melodic sound that everybody wanted to capture. That's what they were doing. That sound came from Ja Rule and 50 Cent, Lauryn Hill. They pushed that melodic sound, and then Drake came in, and Kanye, well, actually it was Kanye, then Drake comes in, you the best I ever had, best I ever had. And then it morphed into something else, and then all these other sounds started coming in. But I understand what they're saying, but at the same time, I got to give them some pushback because, not really some pushback, but I just think that a lot of these artists been trash. They've been trash. It's now just being noticed now. Now everybody's like, damn, wait. You really was never that good. We just liked you because there wasn't really nobody around. You know what I'm saying? It's like the teacher came back. The substitute go home now. The real teacher is here. Like, that's how it is, man.
When it was really prime time for these rappers, there was a responsibility for these guys to carry the genre on their shoulders. And I feel like that is no longer relevant whatsoever. So what do you think is happening right now, Lou? Especially with these statistics, it's getting alarming. The mainstream is absolutely flopping. And it seems like we're in a really dry stretch right here where it's like, besides music, mainstream-wise, what's really hitting right now commercially?
I mean, listen, I think there's a lot of issues to tap into. One of them being just the comfort level of a lot of these artists, right? Like, think about the caliber of artists that we're talking about and how much success they've already had in the genre, right? The Lil Waynes, the Lil Babies, the Young Thugs, even Drake, who arguably put out his worst album this year, even though it was more of an R&B album. A lot of these artists don't really have too much to prove. They've already filled up their bank accounts. They already have most of them classics in their catalogs. Is there really a...
Ooh, which one of them has a classic in their catalog? Like a classic to their fans, but overall, the people you named, No. Maybe Drake, Wayne, yes. Drake and Wayne, yes. Little Baby, absolutely not. He doesn't have a classic. No. Maybe to his fans he do. I mean, I guess that's what's most important. And then Playboy Cardi, no. And then what's the other one? Young Thug, no. These guys may have songs that hit, but again, it was all about a certain team that they played on. Now the team has been dismembered. It's just been dispersed. Now nobody don't know how to play the game now. And you're saying like, oh, they did their thing, and these artists haven't been in the game that long. And they might have had some things, but if you look at the ranking of it, yeah, they're gonna walk away with some money. But if you look at the ranking of it, they're not even gonna be in the top 20, top 30, top 40. They haven't made a mark in the game. Eventually, what happens if they stop making music? Nobody's ever gonna remember these dudes except Drake and Wayne. Nobody's gonna really care. Like, what do you think's gonna happen in 10 years from now if Little Baby was to stop making music? You think 10 years from now people are gonna be begging for him to do an album? No. They're gonna be like, who? Like, that's how it goes. You know what I'm saying? So I get what he's saying, but I absolutely disagree with that. I think that these artists they still have a lot to prove. They have to prove, in my opinion, and maybe they don't want to prove it, but in my opinion, for them to be considered amongst the elite, they have to. I mean, if not, then you just consider yourself a cash grabber. That's it.
Need to push the envelope and to put out the best music of their career, or is it just easier to cruise and put out an album because there's certain headlines around their name and that maybe they're due for an album because it's been a couple of years, but that creative inspiration maybe has started to fade away? I think another big issue, bro, like listening to UI Scooty, I thought to myself, I'm like, how the fuck would his team and the engineers and people that were part of the building of this album, minus Thug, how are they approving this music, bro? I think a lot of these artists also suffer from being surrounded by too many yes men who just say, okay, bro, you like it, I like it. We're all making money together. I get to have a Young Thug placement.
Yes, but then are you really pushing the envelope?
That's a very good point. And I'm gonna say that I think that a lot of these artists, they are surrounded by yes men, or if there's some people in their camp that tell them, they either get kicked out or they say, nah, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be in these engineering rooms with some of these artists because I would make them work. I'd be like, I don't care who you is. I'd be like, nah, bro. You gotta go for something else, bro. You gotta go for something. Like I keep saying this about Young Thug. Young Thug should have spent that narrative in his favor. He should have did every one of those songs, every one of those tapes that was released. He should have made a song out of it. He should have said, you know, here, yeah, I said it. That should have been the name of the album. Yeah, I said it. And every part of those tapes that was leaked, he should easily just wrote a song about it and said why he said it. That's it. But again, everybody's looking for a cash grab. They want instant gratification, and it doesn't work anymore. I don't even think these artists even realize it. They think they're hotter than what they really are, to be honest with you.
On your product, right? Because we've talked to a lot of different record label execs about this, and bro, there's people in the industry that genuinely feel this way, where it's like everything's fucking stagnant right now. The entire development system for new artists and new acts is getting crazy. I also think there's a lack of refreshing faces right now in the mainstream of hip-hop that are pushing the envelope, right? If you look at, let's say, I'm not sure, look at a Netspend or a Yeet, for example. Yes, they've created their own lanes and their own like little subgenres within hip-hop, but is it really pushing the genre forward mainstream wise? No, because looking at the statistics.
But see, and I think this is where y'all go wrong. Where y'all go wrong is y'all look at the people y'all like and y'all say that these people need to do more or push the envelope, when there's artists that is way better than them that y'all don't never consider. See, this is the issue that I think that we run into when it comes to hip hop media, right? And not to say that they're an issue. I'm just saying. This is the issue that I think we run into. We run into this issue where a lot of these outlets, they always promote these other artists that they think should be pushed, or they think is where it's at. But they don't never consider everybody. All right, so for example, like Ebro will get on there and he'll talk about artists and be like, yeah, hip hop is dead, man. Hip hop is not even where it's at. I mean, you got who you got out there? You got Kendrick, you got Cole, you know what I'm saying? And some people say you got Drake, and that's silly it. But there's nobody else. I'm like, wait a minute, dog. What are you talking about? There's nobody else. There's plenty of rappers that are actually making good music that you don't never talk about. And the only reason why you don't talk about them artists, because they're not where you want them to be so you can talk about them. Because now you feel like a lot of y'all hip hop media outlets, y'all feel like y'all doing the most of the heavy lifting to bring an artist up. So an artist like Ransom, who makes great albums, who is a phenomenal rapper, probably one of the best rappers in the game, actually probably the best lyricist in the game right now. You don't want to feel like you have to do all the heavy lifting. Now it looks like you're promoting him and actually said of him promoting your channel. You know what I'm saying? So it looks like you're promoting him. And I think that y'all always complaining, but at the same time, y'all let artists like that just go by the wayside and don't help them. But yet and still you put somebody like Ice Spice up on the show and try to say, oh, well, she's doing her thing. Well, wait a minute. You said hip hop is dying and hip hop is trash, but then you're promoting an artist that isn't that good. You know what I'm saying? Oh, because you don't feel like you have to promote. It's just so much that I think that hip hop media need to learn. And I think hip hop media can actually make hip hop fire again if they really wanted to, but they don't want to. They don't want to. They really don't. I'm just going to be honest. They don't.
They're having trouble breaking through themselves. Like, they're not having the chart power or the chart stay that the previous batch of superstars were having. So it creates this stagnant feeling in the genre and no one knows where to go anymore.
I think that's a big problem is when you look at like the popular underground scene of today, it's a lot of artists that are in really like these two main subgenres, which are rage rap, and then you have what people are calling like jerk music, which is, again, like you said, the Shays, the Two Hollises, the Netspens, the Xavier So Bass, the Osama Sons, like all of these artists are part of like those realms, those subgenres, and a lot of them sounds.
See, and these artists, I never heard of none of them dudes. This is what I'm saying. So a lot of these people, they be promoting or they be talking about artists that no one's ever heard of. I never heard of them. I'm not saying nobody's ever heard of them. I never heard of them. But there are artists like Dave East who just dropped the album that's pretty fire that he's not even talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure Dave East is a little more popular than the guys he talking about. Maybe, I don't know. Because some of these dudes be having millions of subscribers and shit.
Sound like clones of each other, if I'm being totally honest. They all seem to have, it sounds like the same producer locked in a basement creating the same style of beats. I mean, sure, I'd like to hear the fresh production styles of someone like a Benny X or a Filthy. Like, for example, Oh I Did off of that new Yee project. Bro, I was blown away, bro. Like, that anthemic rage beat, the way that synth sounded like a fucking trumpet that was just blowing through that production, the distorted bass, the woman screaming, that was fresh as fuck for a rage beat. But my problem is just that a lot of these rappers are being carried by those beats, bro. And at the end of the day, the truth is, most of these artists don't know how to rap, bro. That's the biggest problem. You're making rap music.
That's what I'm saying, bro. So if you are saying that these dudes don't know how to rap, there are a plethora of artists that you're not talking about that actually can rap. Like, we're talking about Benny the Butcher. Like, we're talking about Conway, Dave East, talking about Ransom, Rome Street. It's so many other artists that can actually rap that y'all not talking about. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying people in general.
And you don't know how to rap properly. A lot of these artists aren't even, like, forget like lyricism. A lot of them aren't even showing that much charisma. They're not able to properly find diverse pockets. The breath control isn't there. Like, a lot of the basics of what makes someone able to ride a beat, that's not like audible in a lot of these artists' catalogs.
Or it's a lot of music that's just sort of like drenched in recency, right? Where it's let's conform to a new hot topic and let's see who's the one that's able to be the most mysterious while doing it. And I think everyone looked at what Cardi did this decade and was just like, okay, let me take that blueprint for myself and let's kind of switch production up a bit. And, you know, I have a completely different voice, so it's automatically different. Like, no, like there needs to be an identity. But regardless, like,
But I think that's the tip of the iceberg, because
It is the tip of the
I think
iceberg.
the labels are also looking for the next Cardi and looking for maybe the next Lil Baby, and like they're sort of like typecasting a certain type of rapper who's had success, but maybe the limited success that we've seen, perfect example, a Lil Baby have, where we're seeing the decline in sales, in demand for live shows, etc. So that's a big problem. Let me ask you too this. Do you think the audience is to blame in the sense of the type of talent that we're getting, maybe the quality of music, in the
No.
sense of, what I will say is this: a lot of the newer generation of listeners, they do prefer the vibe of the music more than like the actual, let's say, content of
but
the
even
music,
if you're
or
making
the
good vibe
ability.
music, bro, like for example,
Well, the audience, I get his question, but the audience is what the audience follow the artist. If the artist is, if all artists, like you look at the eras of hip hop from the 90s, from the 80s to the 90s, the audience didn't determine who was what. The artist did. So the artists and masses started doing certain things, and then the audience. You look at all of them. Look at turn up music. Look at drill music. It's the artist who determines this, not the audience. You know what I'm saying? The artist, and then the audience. So it'd be the artists, a certain amount of artists. They start doing music like that. Then the audience wants to hear that music, and that's when the artist starts to do. Different artist starts to do it, but it usually starts with the artist. I get what he's saying, but
when I was listening to Barter 6 or early Future, yeah, they weren't the craziest, you know, songwriters, but for the most part, a lot of it was sort of built around the vibe. I don't think, like, okay, the audience never knows what it really wants. It only knows what it wants once it's given to them. And it's like, yo, this is fresh. This is fucking crazy. This is incredible. Because that's just what artistic, you know, expression is, right? Like, I don't create my podcast or like around my opinions around what everyone else thinks just for the sake of pleasing people. And I feel like that's what a lot of artists are doing. It's like this pleasing contest, you know, where it's, well, I'm going to sacrifice my own artistic output just to be able to fit into a certain mold. And
Play
that
it
becomes
safe.
a problem. Also, another
that's a great point. I never understood why, even when it comes to podcasting, I never understood why people do that. Why a lot of us, like, I'll give you an example with the Taylor Swift episode. I didn't know if I wanted to put that episode out or not, because I looked at it like in my head, in the back of my head, you want people to watch it, content. You want people to watch it. But I said to myself, well, I've worked hard on this, and this is what I want to do, and this is what I want to put out. And if people don't like it, they don't like it. I'm not expecting anybody to like everything. So I understand exactly what he's saying. Like, you just got to do you. You can't stop doing what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I get what he's saying. That's a very good point.
problem that we were talking about with one of our close friends that's really deep in the music industry is that a lot of the management and a lot of the structure around these artists, it's extremely loose now. It's like a fucking daycare, right? Where the artist development and putting money into these artists, and, you know, like back then you used to have to follow a certain formula to be able to release a studio album. If Kanye wanted to release a Graduation, it had to be in collaboration with his label. His A&R had to tell him when he was going to drop it, and it had to be of a certain quality. But now the artists don't want to hear that. They want to be able to drop at whatever time they want. This is it. Let's get it out. I agree. I think there should be that sort of like loose nature to it, but to a certain extent, you still need the foundation of the label and of the teams to be able to form these sounds. It goes back to what you were saying about the Yes Men. If everyone just lets people, like, let's say, release this music and it goes out to the public and it's all half-assed and no one's telling the artist, like, hey, like, let's take some more time on this. Let's get this producer in. Let's do, like, where's the art of the collaboration? Like, bro, you're just whipping shit out there to keep your fans happy and to keep your streams up. At that point, what are you really doing? And then the whole other conversation becomes, well, you have all these artists that are conforming to the Spotify algorithms, right? It's like, well, how do you want me to compete in this new age of DSPs?
And speaking of that, it's crazy because they're all pandering to these algorithms and wanting to chart high. But when you look at the Billboard Hot 100 of this current week, there's no rap songs in the top 20. And there's only about 19 songs in the entire Hot 100 that are rap songs, and 15 of them are from Cardi B's new album. Even crazy when you look at just number ones for this year, bro. In 2025, the real answer should be 0 hip-hop songs that have gone number 1, but technically it's 1 with Travis Scott's 4x4, which obviously only landed there because of the immense bundles he had attached to it, selling CDs, selling shirts with the release of the single.
Had a crazy drop-off, too, in the second week.
It literally dropped off to 57 the following week. That's not a number 1 hit to me, bro. That is not a number 1 hit. It's a manufactured hit. It's a bought hit. But you look at 2024, last year, 5 rap songs reached number 1. 2023, only 3 rap songs, and that was a slow year as well for the mainstream, and you didn't have a number 1 until Doja in August. 2022, 5 rap songs went number 1. 2021, 7. 2020 had 10 rap songs go number 1. You look at 2018, 8 rap songs went number 1. We're even seeing just a lack of hits all around the fucking board, bro.
So that's what I'm trying to ask you.
What's happening, bro? Like, why aren't people able to cut through the noise? And I think a lot of them are obviously, a lot of these superstars not on their A game for some of the reasons I mentioned earlier. I think a lot of them are pandering, forcing the music, not really being inspired by their real life experiences or just what's driving them on a creative level. And no one's really doing anything entirely unique anymore. I think those...
You got to blame Kendrick Lamar. I ain't going to lie. You have to blame Kendrick. Kendrick Lamar put rap in a space where everybody got to be creative now. These dudes are not as good as him. Tyler, the Creator, Jid, and a couple of other people, yes. Well, I ain't going to say Tyler, Jid is, but Tyler, the Creator can get... His name is Tyler, the Creator, so obviously he can do what he do, but most of these artists, they're not artists, man. They just rap words. That's it. They don't know how to make a hit now because the climate has changed and they don't even realize it. So I understand what he's saying. That's a great question.
The major issues. And I see a lot of people saying, like, stop harping over the mainstream. Fuck the mainstream. If you're a real hip hop fan or you're a real music fan, you don't need to rely on the mainstream to be happy. But I do take issue with that, just in the sense of, like, yes, I love a lot of underground releases. I think the underground has been above the mainstream for a couple of years at this point in this genre.
And it usually is, actually.
Yeah, it usually is. That being said, bro, the mainstream is what labels, festivals, brands, that's where their money is going into, bro. If mainstream hip hop is thriving artistically, that's where the funding comes from, bro. The infrastructure, the attention, it all trickles down then into the underground. You got to think about it this way too. Think about like a new hip.
I get what he's saying, but that's not entirely true. Like the mainstream, I guess what he's saying is, if the mainstream is good, then everybody else is good. But then you have to understand that most people, when they get to a certain point, they don't know how to make music that is dumbed down and good. A lot of artists can't do a Squabble Up. They can't do a Not Like Us. They don't know how to do that. So they do this simple, but it's nothing to it. There's nothing in it. You know what I'm saying? It's just regular. And eventually what happens is people, but right now they can't do it. They just can't do it. I understand what he's saying. That's a great point. The industry, but I would always go with quality over quantity. And I think right now we at that space. But we're going to watch a little more and then we're going to get out of here.
Pop listener, bro. They're going to be exposed to what's popular. And only then are they going to be able to sort of trickle down into the underground and find these new artists. So what I'm trying to say is that you need the mainstream to thrive if you care about hip hop and you want to see these underground artists be able to actually make a living, bro, doing this.
Absolutely.
Because if not, it's just going to fucking drown, bro. It's going to be a sinking ship.
All right, so yeah, so tell me what y'all think about that. You know what I mean? That was a great episode. If y'all want to watch the rest, make sure y'all go on their channel. I will tag them in it. But yeah, man, I think that they made some good points in that. I definitely think that hip hop needs to be more quality and in less quantity of trash. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for joining me. I appreciate y'all. See y'all on the next one. Peace. Bye.